Hey, how's it going, everyone? Today we're checking out the UMIDIGI Bison GT2 Pro 5G. That's a mouthful right there. I do want to thank UMIDIGI for sending this out. So on the back, you've got all the specs here. Inside, we've got a MediaTek MT6877. The Dimensity is 900. That's the first time I heard about this. I looked it up, and basically this is like one of the newer processors that's high-end for the ARM Cortex. So this is a Cortex A78 plus 6X Cortex A55. I know it can get a little confusing talking about the CPU and GPU, but just bear with me here. Android 11, 8 gigabytes of RAM, a whopping 256 gigabytes of internal storage, with the option to include a micro SD card. There's dual SIM cards or nano SIM support, 6150 milliamp hours, 6.5 inch, 2400 by 1080. So it is going to be a 1080 overall, but you do have more pixels there, so it'll look a little denser or nicer. In the box, you're introduced with the phone itself. Underneath that is the quick user guide, a USB wall outlet, and the USB-C cable. This rugged phone doesn't feel too thick. It does weigh a bit, but it is thinner than that Alcatel rugged smartphone that I had. That was last year, though. Time does fly. On the side, you've got pretty much most of your buttons, volume keys, power button, which is also a fingerprint sensor, an extra customizable button here. On the bottom, you've got a microphone as well as a USB-C cable or port. On the other side, you've got the other customizable button, and you can get to the SIM tray / micro SD card tray just with your fingers. You don't have to get any type of pin. And on top, is that a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack? That's what it looks like. Awesome. Nice to see that still going on there. Looks like they're starting to get rid of it in other places. Anyways, there's a camera on the back. It's not protruding too much, but if you lay it flat on a table, that's one of the first things that's going to get touched or hit if it falls straight flat. So there's this 64 megapixel camera, the infrared sensors there. There's a second mic back here, a barometer, and then I'm seeing this for the first time. A pressure relief hole. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'm going to take a guess that that's for like water in case if like some of it gets inside. That's just my guess though. This has a IP68/69K rating. That means it'll survive up to like 1.8 meters underwater, which is pretty impressive actually. The back has a nice rubber feel to it. It is pretty sturdy though overall. On the bottom there's like a place where you can place a little hook, and then the speaker grill. Man, that looks like one small speaker, and that's really sad to see. I was hoping for something more up front, like the speakerphone on top here. There is the front camera as well, and then you got some more specs here. Do have this set up just now, and it does come with the screen protector pre-installed. Here's the fingerprint scanner. It's really responsive, probably one of the most that I've seen, most responsive that I've seen. And out of the box, there's not much bloatware at all. I mean, you got your main Google stuff, and just a little bit more after that, but there's a ton of storage space here, so nothing to worry about. I mean, if we look at it here, 243 gigabytes free, so you really don't have to worry about anything. I'm not even going to put a micro SD card in here. I mean, it's just like there's just too much space to ever be concerned about something like that. All right, so now we're outside, and I know you can't see this in video, like the screen too well, but in person you can actually view everything just perfectly fine. I mean, it's not as bright as my iPhone, but as long as you can view this outdoors, that's probably one of the main functions and features you need on a rugged smartphone. So you can view this outdoors. I can't get a good feel of the camera quality. It feels a little over-sharpened like your typical Android phone, but it doesn't look too bad. I took some pictures using the rear camera, and it is better than expected, not going to lie here. The sharpness is pretty solid. You can see the detail even when zooming in. For the front camera, I still prefer iPhones. I'm still impressed though. With a little bit of light seeping through, you can kind of see with the camera a couple of things. Down here you can't. Here's what it looks like with the flash on. The flash is actually better than expected. So you can read that. Guys, I saw this comment the other day asking what to get. One 8 gig RAM stick. So here's the thing. The screen is great. It's like a beautiful, vibrant screen, and you can watch videos at full HD 1080p on YouTube. It does have a 90 hertz display, so you can watch videos at 60 FPS on here. And the speaker on the back is small, so it does sound kind of tinny, but it's not as bad as like other ones that I've seen. It does get really loud, so that's a good thing. That's probably the only good thing about it. Otherwise, it's like, I just wish it was up front because it can also get covered here, so that's just not that great. And also, the other downside is that this, on the DRM info, this has a wideband level of L3. That means videos are capped at 480p on Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, etc. So that's a big downside. And if you're looking at this for media consumption, then I think you're better off looking elsewhere. For the Geekbench scores, for those that you want to see, well, real quick, the GPU is a Mali G68 MC4, and then that CPU. Here's the score we got normally for this. It's got slightly higher every single time I did it, which was interesting. And these scores aren't the worst. They're somewhere on the lower end. But as I mentioned before, this doesn't always translate into performance. And performance on here has been great. So far, everything is like really snappy. So I really like to see that. This is probably the snappiest phone. I haven't really noticed any lags whatsoever, either slowdowns or hiccups. I mean, if they are there, they're just so seldom. I don't even notice it, so that's nice. For those wondering, yes, you can do a split screen on here because it is running Android 11. I currently have my sim inside, and I tested this out a couple of times. The download speed does show 33, and the upload speed is 5.77. Now, that's not so accurate because I only have like 2 or 3 bars. It keeps going back and forth. But at its peak, I saw it around like 40 megabytes per second. Either way, this is pretty snappy. Like, I'm talking about the internet speed. I haven't noticed any issues with it being on 5G. I also did make a call, and the call quality was excellent. I could hear the person fine and vice versa. First game here is Roblox. The graphics I tried to set to the high or the highest level that I could by doing manual. And I'm not sure if there's an FPS counter where you can find it. Oh, whoops, not pressing it. So yeah, this works really smoothly. And on here, it gave me an option to choose either high quality or low quality. I did high quality. I did notice a bit of hiccups, but overall, things seem to work really well. I wanted to get into combat or something, but either way, I don't really notice any issues here, so you'll be just fine. Yep, yeah, not really any problems here. Next game here is Genshin Impact. Surprisingly, everything has been really smooth here. I've noticed just maybe like 2 or 3 hiccups at most, but that's early on in the game, maybe when the files were still loading, something like that. I can't be too sure. But nonetheless, yeah, this is 100% playable. I haven't noticed any lag in fights so far or anything like that. I guess maybe the clouds right there didn't look too natural when the shadow was coming in. No biggie. Oh my god. Finally, I wanted to check out one more game here. This is Apex Legends Mobile. By the way, the graphics are set to normal. I'm seeing a little bit more hiccups and stutters here and there. Maybe if I lower the graphics, it might be a little smoother. We'll have to check it out. And Genshin Impact was at normal settings. It wasn't at the lowest, so if you do have any performance issues or if you want to get rid of more hiccups or whatever you call it, then yeah, setting it to the lowest settings should fix most of it. Okay, so I turned down the settings, and I did fight someone with the normal level graphics. Right now it's at smooth, and yeah, I don't notice too much of a difference, but I guess it's not completely smooth in frame rate, but it's decent. When I say not completely smooth, I think I do see some frame rate drops here and there, like it's not at 60 FPS all the time. But overall, it's definitely playable. And by the way, I've been playing games for almost half an hour here, and the back just gets slightly warm here. It's not bad at all. So the heatsink is pretty well maintained, or the material just helps you prevent it from feeling that hotness. Overall, this is the best rugged smartphone in terms of performance that I've ever used. Compared to the Alcatel, Zeekr, and Blackview smartphones, this one tops it all, just because the performance is really good. And you can play games on here, high-end games, pretty well here, without too much lag or stutter. Only downside is the media consumption, where you're capped at 480p for on streaming platforms. But that same issue is occurring with the other smartphones that I've mentioned too, or the other brands. None of them have this, or none of them have wideband level of L1 to watch videos in full HD 1080p. But yeah, I guess that's the one hindrance of rugged smartphones. But if you're in the market for one, especially if you're going to use it outdoors, and performance is something you care about too, then this is definitely the one to take home. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and leave a like if you did find this video helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more. As always, thanks for watching.